All right, welcome to VetSOAP, an educational podcast focused on veterinarians and vet techs and other animal health members. We're going to help you uncover the people and techniques used by your colleagues to remove the challenges of managing your practice. Why? So you can uncover more opportunities, spend more time on the things that you enjoy, and ultimately earn the money you deserve. This is a production of Viticus Group and recorded in sunny Las Vegas. Our website is viticuspodcast.com, and an audio and video version of this episode is available at all of your favorite podcast and video distribution platforms. All right, let's get started. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. I don't normally say that on a Monday, but I'm super excited to be here with Miss Rebecca Rose. So she's here to join me early this morning so that we can go over some topics. I have to say, Miss Rebecca, you have such an aura about you. You are such a positive and outgoing person. You rank up there next to my mom. So I love being around you. I love your aura. I love your energy. And so I'm so happy that you're here with me this morning.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry, and I haven't even gotten into what I talk about. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. Well, it's been an honor to be invited.
Well, thanks for joining us so early. And I got a couple questions for you. Hopefully we'll hit on some hot topics. You've had an incredibly diverse career experiences with veterinary health being the thread. Tell me how your journey took you where you are today.
Oh boy, and it has been quite a journey. So I have been a veterinary technician, a credentialed veterinary technician for over 35 years. There's not a lot of people who can say that. And yet I still don't feel there is a glass ceiling to what I can still accomplish even after 35 years. When I was looking at these questions and I'm thinking, gosh, there's almost an hour's worth of material just in how I got here. So I'm going to give the cliff notes. Many years ago, when I was working at Town and Country Animal Hospital, which is a mixed animal practice in rural Colorado, we would go into our clients' homes. It was not uncommon at all to even go into probably 60% of our clients' homes. And oftentimes that was to euthanize their beloved pets, whether that was the dog, the cat. I know this sounds horrible, but it was quite a wonderful service that we could even provide then. And then as my career continued to grow and morph, I was invited to become a part of the International Association of Hospice and Palliative Care. Now, when I was also living in Gunnison, a dear friend of mine passed away probably about 25 years ago. And she was one of the first hospice care recipients in our community. And because of my networking, which is foundational to all of our successes, I was able to be a part of that experience with Dixie and those hospice care nurses. And I recall even then thinking, this is so beautiful. This is so loving, so caring. Everything that we're providing to my dear friend in end of life care, I can see how that would be a service that our clients would want for their pets too in the future. So that was about 25 years ago. And probably 12 years ago is when I started hanging out with Dr. Kathy Cooney, and what a wonderful soul she is. And her and I just really meshed and clinged and had many, many wonderful conversations in end of life care, to include even the veterinary teams and how can all of us do this a little better.
Yes, teamwork is so important.
It is so important. And she's such a founder. And I'm also glad and happy to be working with Danny and Dr. Mary too, that are with Lap of Love. But so I started doing presentations for the International Association of Hospice and Palliative Care. That's quite a mouthful. And then my networking just bloomed and blossomed from there, which I'm going to have the word networking is going to be a theme throughout our conversation, Crystal. So even that's how you and I met, was through networking.
Yes, absolutely. Probably at a great event.
Well, I was thinking about this. You were quoted, and I reached out to you when I was creating career choices for veterinary technicians. That's how we originally met. So then as my presentations and networking continued to grow, I met Dr. Danny and Dr. Mary. And then networking with Thomas, a dear friend of mine, he began working for Lap of Love about 5 years ago. And he was a veterinary outreach specialist, now I'm one of four, but he hired me because he was just growing that aspect of his introductions to veterinary teams, that he's like, I need to find another one of me. I'm unable to do all of this onboarding as our Lap of Love teams continue to grow and our outreach across the United States continue to grow. So about 1.5 years ago, he hired me along with another friend of mine, and then even Cheryl. So now we have a team of 4 doing veterinary outreach specifically for Lap of Love veterinarians.
Oh, that's great. That's quite the
That's
journey.
cool. That's quite the journey.
Yeah, that is awesome. So I do have to say my journey is not quite as career driven as yours, but I have been around the block for over 20 years myself and have gone from a couple different practices and focuses that I've enjoyed. And man, I remember back in those days.
Yeah,
Being a
and
technician
isn't
was
it
different.
wonderful that we're still here and we're still growing? I mean, every single day I get up and I'm like, oh, I get to go to work again.
It's great. Every day is different.
Every day's different.
So I love how you touched on teamwork. I think that teams are so extremely important. And I love that you've got a couple different teams. You've got teams here and teams there, but you come together ultimately with the same goal and purpose. And I appreciate that. So thanks for sharing that. What would you say as a coach are your top 3 tips for animal health professionals to find work-life harmony and keep stress in check?
Yeah. When I was putting together my notes, the first word was networking. And you would probably think, why in the world would that be so prevalent? Because it's through networking that I really do have, and I call it a work-life blend that is just offers everything that I need in my life, because it's through networking that I have careers that have just exploded. I have friends all over the United States. I can have coffee with people everywhere, regardless of where I'm at, regardless of a city. So networking can help to bring about those wonderful relationships that continue to support you no matter where you are within your career. The other word that came to mind was, and this is a difficult one, self-awareness, because it's
Mm,
through that self-awareness that you can build those relationships that support you. It's through self-awareness that you can recognize, what are my triggers? What is stressing me out? How can I choose to navigate through this or let something go? It's through self-awareness that you can have peace of mind. So self-awareness is a big concept, and it's a constantly growing and changing, morphing you. Certainly think about my 20-year-old self versus my 56-year-old self. Much different in self-awareness. So
mhm.
self-awareness is something that we continually build upon, kind of like communications. And then,
Yes.
yeah, then the other last one is finding a team that supports your do want list.
It's that teamwork
So,
again.
mhm. And my do want list seems really strange as a veterinary technician because I love to travel. How many
Hmm.
veterinary technicians could say that a do want list included travel?
Not many.
Mm-mm. My do want list is that I want a team that communicates. I want a team that supports each other, even though we're working virtually and we're all over the United States. So for the other folks that are listening to this, typically they can have a long laundry list of don't wants. I don't want gossip. I don't want untrustworthiness. I don't want people with low um, work ethics. I don't want, continue to
The list goes
elaborate on
on
your
and
don't want
on.
list. Yeah, because it's easy for us to define what we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we flip it around and we create the do want list, that's what we're aiming for.
Yes.
I do
Flip the
want
script.
communication.
Mm-hmm.
Flip the script, flip the narrative. Precisely.
I
So,
like
what,
it.
Crystal, if I were to ask you what's on your do want list, could you give me a few things on a do want list for
Oh,
your
wow.
work?
Look at that. Let's see here. So, my do want list, you had touched communication. I think communication is very important. I think because of my position and I have, a handful of technicians who work with me, it's very important for me to be transparent in all of my
Mhm.
dealings. I need to gain everybody's trust and respect as for every day-to-day business that they have to, have to go through, and know that I'm there to support them. I mean, those are the do ones. So just working communication, making sure you're transparent, working together as a team. You've touched on teamwork, and
Yeah.
I just think it's so important because without a team, what do you have? I don't want to say you're not much because I'm sure there's great people out there who are a team of one, but you can do so much with a great team.
Yeah, it lends to so much more enjoyment, purposeful collaboration, creativity when you have a team. So you did really well, Crystal, because you'd be surprised. You did really well. How many people are like, again, I can fill out that do want or don't want list, pardon me. But when you flip it
Yeah,
to the do want list, they're like, hmm, never
yeah.
thought of it that way.
When you change that around, there is a whole new perspective. You get to I was taking it as building my own team in my head. What are the things that I want
Hmm.
in my own ideal team? So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
you did good.
All right. So with a lap of love is deeply personal and unique service. Can you tell me
Mhm.
briefly why you decided to get involved with it? I know you kind of touched base a little bit on that when you were talking about your journey, and it
Mhm.
sound like lap of love came into your lap and everything just seemed to click. Is that right?
Precisely. And it did strike on all of those do want lists. So immediately prior to Lap of Love, I had my own business. I had Catalyst Veterinary Professional Coaches, which I morphed into Rebecca Rose Coaching LLC. But prior to that, um, so when you have your own business for 14 years, that's a long time. I've been my own
Mm-hmm.
boss for 14 years. And when the pandemic hit, I was just so tired. I mean, you can probably just see it in me. I just felt exhausted, deflated,
It was hard.
disappointed. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of what people felt. So I put it out to the universe. I said, I'm ready to be an employee. And
Okay.
Crystal, I have to tell you, I didn't know how good of an employee I would be.
After 14
You know,
years.
yeah, you can only imagine the autonomy I'd had. You probably have quite a bit of autonomy in your job.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and being able to be creative, problem solving, these are all things that just strike on all my cylinders. Um, and so when I put it out there to a couple friends, and lo and behold, Thomas reached out to me right away. He had no idea that I was ready to be an employee again, to work for a wonderful company, to work for a company that had a beautiful value system and a wonderful mission. And he asked me, Rebecca, would you like to join me on my team? I'd already been watching Lap of Love for about 10 years. Remember, I talked about networking,
Yeah.
going to booths, going to social events,
Mm-hmm.
mingling
All
with
your
Dr.
networking.
Mary, and Dr. Danny. I'd walk by and see their booth, which is absolutely beautiful. If anybody's ever seen our exhibit booth, it's gorgeous. And that just had my head tingle. So when he asked me about that, I was like, yeah, this sounds like the place where I could continue to grow, travel, create, build, be an influencer, all of those things.
Right.
And Crystal, I have to tell you, when I speak with veterinary teams about building onboarding, building systems that work, allowing for teams to reach their highest potential, Lap of Love does all of that. We meet
That's
on a
great.
weekly basis. We have wonderful offline communications with my team. My veterinarians get huge amounts of support. The veterinary care coordinators get 4 weeks of training before they even pick up a phone. I mean, that just
Wow.
blew me away when I learned that. Um, we have wonderful transparency, which is important to you. I think that's important to the majority of our
Hmm.
veterinary teams out there, the people that are probably listening to this. So that just keeps building. And even after a year and a half, still amazes me and just tickles me pink that that's a part of our culture.
Yes. Would you say, I'm sure you touched lives of many, many families through the Lap of Love, who they have assisted. Would you say there
Mhm.
is one specific story that has really had an impact on you?
And I thought about this for a long time, and I'm going to go with not one specific story, but the fact that when we schedule these wonderful services
Mhm.
at this end of life care, we include children in it. So I'm going to back up to the time when I was working at Town and Country Animal Hospital. And when we had a pet that had a grave diagnosis or an illness that we just knew that that was going to be the end, and it was a small community. Gunnison is still a small community. I would tell my doctors, that's my case, especially if there were
Mhm.
children involved, because I wanted those children to have a good experience, knowing that was probably the first time that they've had to see this and go through this. And so that's why I levy the fact that we are able to, when those families decide to do an in-home euthanasia, create whatever it is that they want to. And oftentimes the children are included, and our veterinarians know very much how to embrace that and be there for even the children and make that beautiful, wonderful experience for children.
Mm. I'm looking at your website. Everything looks great. That's such an incredible service that you can offer, and I am so grateful to have you on this morning. So, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? I know that's pretty
I
open
just wanted,
ended.
it is a pretty open-ended conversation, and I just wanted, I got, again, I'm going to loop around to networking. For as many years as you and I've even known each other, and as many years as I've been in this community, I really want people to understand that networking, even if it might make you cringe, going to a social event or stepping up to someone who you've never met or talked with before, when you are within the veterinary community, it is a very safe place to grow. It's a very safe place to expand yourself and use those events, those opportunities, those
Mhm.
meetings, whatever it is, even within your veterinary hospital, to network and grow your
Yes.
career. It is just
Yes.
such a career that, like you and me, we've been here for a long time. You can continue
Keeps
to
on
enjoy
giving.
it. Hmm. Keeps on giving. Yeah.
So, Miss Rose, what's the best way to get a hold of you? What is some of your contact information?
Thank you. I am quite a social butterfly, as you can imagine. So I'm on LinkedIn, Rebecca Rose, CVT. I have my website here. Um, you can also find me on Facebook. My email address is RebeccaR@lapoflove.com. And please visit lapoflove.com to learn more about our services. We also offer services in pet loss grief, tele-advice, telehealth. I mean, we have full services in end of life care.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right. If you have a question, a comment, or suggestion for an episode, please email us at VetSOAP at VetSOAP@VetIcusPodcast.com. That's VetSOAP@VetIcusPodcast.com. If you like what we're doing, please leave a positive review on your favorite platform. And thanks for watching.